Hey guys, Todd here. Today we're going to install the AeroCab PRO from AVS on this 2020 Ram 2500. The tools we'll be using for this installation are scissors, a test light, a couple of trim tools. We have a rotary tool with a little bit of sandpaper, nitrile or latex gloves, some tape, safety glasses, and a small drill bit in case we need to modify the plastic hole in our protector. Before we get started, we want to make sure that the truck is properly prepped. So thoroughly wash the truck and dry it before we get started. We also want to make sure that when we're looking at the paint up there, if we've got any kind of paint protectors or paint coatings, that has to be completely removed before we move forward. This is made to stick to automotive grade paint. Paint protectors typically are made for things not to stick to them. So those have to be removed first so we have good paint to stick this to. You also want to make sure that we're between 60 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Once we're there, we can go ahead and start looking at the piece itself. Now, when you look at the top of the cab, you'll notice we've got an FM antenna up there. Not all of the trucks are going to have that, so this piece is not cut out yet, but it is marked exactly where to cut it out. We've got the antenna, so I'm going to use the rotary tool real quick and zip that right out. All right, so I went ahead and got everything cut out. Now I'm just kind of knocking off all the burrs with some sandpaper. I will tell you that the rotary wheel works a lot better, so I went ahead and did that. Next, what I'm gonna do is put this up on top, just dry fit it, make sure everything's cut out properly. All right, that looks good. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and install the LED light bar. One thing you wanna take a look at first is if the hole is going to accommodate your loom that goes through there. So right now it looks a little small, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up a little bit. I'm just going to use a step bit, drill bit to open that up just a touch. All right, now that the loom goes through, I'm going to go ahead and first clean off this surface with some supplied alcohol prep pads. All right, the alcohol is going to do a good job of cleaning off that surface and getting any kind of residues or anything. Once that's cleaned off, I'm then going to apply some surface prep to this surface. What that does is that gives us a good surface for the adhesive on the light bar to adhere to. It's a good idea to wear some gloves. I got some nitrile gloves here I'm going to put on. All right, now while that surface prep is drying up, I'm going to go ahead and run our loom all the way through. All right, now once we get our LED light bar in place, the way we're going to attach that is we're going to peel back a couple of inches from either side and make sure that as you fold that vinyl tape protector forward, make sure they're kind of going off in the same direction. All right, so we got both pieces of vinyl going off this way. Next, what we're going to do is set this in place. Get it nice and centered. Make sure you can still grab the vinyl protector or the adhesive. And once we've got it in place, we can go ahead and put down some pressure. And then we're going to pull about 6 inches at a time and press that up against the surface. You want to make sure you get good pressure on that adhesive so it makes a good bond. right, now what we're going to do is go ahead and flip this over. And what we're going to see is we've got some tape that's sticking out here. What we need to do when we adhere this to the cab, we're going to be working from the inside to the outside. So where we've got the divider on the tape here, we're going to peel that away. Make sure we've got, just a couple inches worth of tape pulled out, and make sure it's facing to the outside of the protector here. Same thing with all pieces of tape. Also make sure you're not touching the surface of the tape with your hands. You want to make sure that when this touches the paint, that's the first thing that it touches, so that it creates a good bond. These pieces out here will do the same. So we're working from the inside to the outside. Now we're pulling this back so that when we have this set in place, we can grab the vinyl protector and pull it out from underneath. If you're having an issue with this folding back in, just go ahead and get some little pieces of tape and hold that to the front side of the protector. So next, what we're going to do, I'm going to set that up. We're also going to run our wire off to the side, and I'm going to tape that in place so that it's held in place as well. Okay guys, just to give you a quick update to this installation, we now have a little extra wire in our harness, and that is so that we can do a service loop. So let me show you how this is going to route. We're going to still have the wires come down and exit out this area right here. We're going to tape that in place, but now we've got a little bit of extra wire in case anything happens to that light bar. So if you smack that light bar real hard with a branch, something like that, if you damage that in any way, you now have a little bit extra wire to replace just the light bar. You don't have to replace the entire unit. So I'm just going to put a little bit of tape here. You don't want to go too crazy on the tape, just a little bit of tape just to hold it in place. Painter's tape works great because it doesn't have a really strong bond. Basically, you want to be able to pull that wire back through to be able to splice in a new light bar should you need to replace it. All right, now we're going to go ahead and set the protector in place. As you can see, I've already got the tape holding the tape protector in place so it doesn't fold back underneath. I've also got a piece of tape holding my wire harness to the inside. So what I'm going to do is set this down. You want to be really careful not to let it stick right away. This tape does want to grab pretty quickly, but what we want to do is make sure we get it nice and lined up before we bear down and get contact. I'm just going to kind of bring it in place here. I'm going to get just a slight initial tack on there, and I'm going to check it on the other side and make sure everything is lined up exactly where we want to put it before we press down with any kind of force. All right, now that we've got it where we want it, what we're going to do is bear down on the areas where the tape is touching, and that's going to get an initial tack in place. And then what we want to do is go ahead and start peeling away the adhesive protector. We're going to work about 6 inches at a time. Now, as we're bringing that out, also keep an eye on where your end or where your corner is going to end. Keep that held in place so it doesn't move as you're going. All right, now we want to make sure we bear down really hard because we want to have a good bond. This is a pressure-sensitive adhesive, and it requires good pressure to create that great bond. All right, I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same on the opposite side. All right, now in your kit, you're going to receive a tube that is adhesive that would be able to attach to your A-pillar that you can run your loom down. But what we can do with this particular one is we can actually pull some of our loom back and expose the wires and run it behind this seal. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to peel away some of the loom, expose our wires. I'm going to show you how I'm going to run this down through our seal. All right, so I'm just going to take a couple of trim tools, just kind of pry up on it just a little bit and let that seal, or let the wires just drop right into the seal. As I'm working it back, I'm just going to kind of tuck everything. That's going to make this just a really nice and clean install. All right, now what we're going to do is go ahead and pop the hood, route this down into the engine compartment, and then keep the loom on the rest of it and route it all the way down to where we can tie into our headlight units. All right, now here is our wire harness. We've just got it from underneath our trim that we had it going under. So what we're going to do is we're going to route that underneath this piece here, route it down, and then go down to where our headlight assembly is. So let me go ahead and set this up. Now for this spot right here, we also have in our kit, we've got some of these clips that are adhesive. So I'm gonna wipe down this surface with some rubbing alcohol, set that in place so it can kind of hold our loom in place there. But let me go ahead and get the wire routed first. And we're gonna go underneath our support. All right, now we're going to secure all this out of the way. So I'm going to take an alcohol prep pad, clean off this surface right here, which is nice and dirty, so we want to make sure it comes clean. There we go. This is just going to drop right into this location here. Bear down, get good adhesion, and then it just clips into place. All right, now let's go ahead and follow it down and wire it into our headlight unit. So these three wires, the yellow, the black, and the brown, are going to go to our headlight on this side, the harness on this side, and the green is going to stretch across to the passenger side and do the passenger side turn signal. So let me go ahead and show you the harness for the headlight. So you've got this clip right here that will be in. You want to pull that red clip out, then push down and pull free from the housing. That's how you disconnect it. This is a test light right here. If you're not familiar with them, this right here you want to clip to a ground. So we're going to go to a ground location underneath the hood. All right, now to get this turn signals, we're going to turn on the hazard light. And with that hazard light on, we can go in and start just testing different spots in the connectors to see where it starts to light up. So I've already actually checked ahead. This is the location where we're going to have a turn signal. So what I've done is I've gone down here and looked, and we've got this little wire here that I've got marked with a piece of blue tape is what we're going to tap into for our left turn signal. When we look at our wire here, the three wires coming out, the yellow wire is going to go to the left turn signal. The black wire is going to go to a ground on this particular harness. This corner wire right here, that black wire is our ground. So we're going to connect this black wire from our harness to the ground, and then we're going to go ahead and turn off the hazard light and then turn on our parking lights. With our parking lights, we'll get power right here at this one. So that's going to be this wire right here. So the brown wire in our kit is going to tie into this white with orange stripe wire. The first one I'm going to do is the brown wire. Now yours might be a different color depending on when your truck was made. Take the posi-tap connector from your kit. You're going to have a gray end. Unscrew the gray end from the posi-tap connector, and you're going to have a split in that gray end. So that split is going to kind of go around the wire like so. And then we're going to take this piece, which has got a prong that's inside there, and we're going to screw it back in. And what that does is it's going to penetrate down into the wire and create a connection. We're going to take our brown wire, go through that red end, and we've got a little bit of, the insulation stripped off. That's going to go through the red end, go into the connector here, and then as we're kind of holding that wire in place, we're going to screw this back down, get nice and tight, and now you have a good connection. We're going to repeat the same with the other two. So we've got the black wire that's going to go to our ground here, and the yellow wire that's going to go to the one I've got marked with a blue tape. All right, now for our ground wire. All right, now we can go ahead and plug this back into the headlight housing. Then we're going to run this side over to the passenger side. Now we will tie this off and secure it after we're done wiring everything in. We're going to make sure that stays well away from our fan up front. Okay, now here is our harness for our passenger side headlight housing. I've already done the test light and found that this wire right here is the wire that I've got marked with a blue tape. That is for our turn signal. So I used the hazard light, found the turn signal, that's the wire. We're going to do the exact same thing with this posi-tap connector here. And our green wire that extends over here, that is for the passenger side turn signal. Turn signal and hazard light is the same bulb. All right, now we can go ahead and reconnect that. And once we do that, I'm going to go ahead and tie all this off. I'm going to pull it nice and tight so it's way away from my fan or any kind of moving components. Well, that concludes the installation. If you have any questions, call the experts or visit us online.